Hello, welcome to this nuclear energy podcast, brought to you by Global America Business Institute, or GABI. My name is Alan On, Director of Programs and Communications at GABI. I have the privilege of speaking with Dr. Chae-Young Lim. He is the Vice President of Strategic Planning at the Korea Atomic Energy Research Institute, or KERI. He joined KERI in 1998. He's primarily been working on studies for drafting national nuclear promotion policy, electricity expansion, and he received his BS in nuclear engineering from Seoul National and his master's and PhD in nuclear engineering from the Korea Advanced Institute of Science and Technology, or KAIST. Dr. Lim, thank you for spending your time with us, joining us and answering our questions today.
Thank you for having me.
Just as a startup question, what has been the scope of your work at KERI, both past and present? I know that you've been part of some of these broader policy analyses and studies.
Yeah, that's right. Well, you already introduced. Since I joined KERI in 1998, I have worked at the nuclear policy research area. In the very beginning, I worked for national energy and electricity expansion planning. After that, I was in charge of developing long-term technology development plan. Then moved to Director of Project Formulation and Management Division. Now I am the Vice President for Strategic Planning, which is to manage the entire R&D life cycle of KERI, such as strategic planning, R&D management, disseminating the R&D output, and so on.
Many of these strategic plans and analyses you've produced, that was for specifically the Republic of Korea, but looking at a broader picture, what do you foresee as the challenges for nuclear power worldwide, globally, internationally, and how do you think they need to be addressed?
Yeah, global nuclear industry is facing with the various challenges. Technical point of view, there are several issues to address, such as enhancing safety, managing spent nuclear fuel, reducing proliferation risk, and so on. But I believe those issues can be managed or will be managed in the near future. The biggest challenge which we are faced is that current nuclear power business has failed to draw the investors' attraction. Let's consider building a new nuclear power plant. For the private investors, it's too risky business to invest. For the government and public utilities, it is too contentious to push ahead considering political sensitivities. So the question is how we can make the nuclear business attractive again. I believe that a multidimensional efforts are needed for that. Let's say technological innovation for addressing public's concern, more efficient regulation framework to make the business predictable, concrete non-proliferation regime to reduce the influence of the international political uncertainties, etc.
As you said, conventional nuclear, large light water reactors has been really difficult for private investment to have invest capital and money into these projects. I think as a result, there's been sort of this resurgence of interest in smaller reactors, Generation 4, non-light water reactors as well. How do you think the trajectory and the development of these reactors will proceed going forward?
Yeah, interest in SMR become very popular in a global nuclear industry. Traditionally, global nuclear industry has tried to improve the competitiveness by scaling up. However, that kind of approach doesn't work very well in an electricity market which experienced dramatic transformation. International agency mentioned flexibility is the new watchword in the power market in his WEO World Energy Outlook 2018. I believe SMR will be a good solution for nuclear industries to adapt themselves in a changing power market. Think about coming 10 years, light water-based SMR will dominate the market because it's technically familiar for the vendors and regulators as well. For medium or longer terms, non-LWR type SMR will also be the attractive option. Non-LWR type SMR will have similar characteristics as we expected in Generation 4 technologies. And those SMR and Generation 4 reactors will converge with each other, I believe.
What do you think will ultimately determine the success or failure of these technologies, speaking about these small reactors and advanced reactors?
I think timing is very crucial, like other businesses. Windows for opportunity is not open for a long time period. Competitors like renewable energy technology is improving very rapidly with the help of huge investment. In this context, making a success case in a competing power market is crucial for the success of technologies as soon as possible. Once it succeeds in demonstrating its vision successfully, the market will react by enlarging the investment, and technologies will be improved with that investment. Formulating that kinds of virtuous circle is the most important factor to success.
This is a bit of a complex, multi-part question. Hypothetically, let's say one of these advanced reactor or SMR technologies comes to fruition. Does this necessarily mean the end of the light water reactor, a large pressurized water reactor? Do you think one of these SMRs or advanced reactors technologies, do they become dominant, or do you think there will be a diversity of different reactor technologies in tomorrow's nuclear fleet? I know you did mention some possibility of a convergence between small reactors and Gen 4.
Eventually it will be. I think future nuclear power market will be segregated. Since early 1980s, when USA virtually stopped to build new nuclear power plant, construction by private investment is almost disappeared in the world. If SMR is succeeding, private investors will come back to the nuclear market, then new market will be created. Well, if SMR is succeeding, the private investors will come back to the nuclear market. But I don't believe that market will substitute the traditional big-size LWR market. Those so-called government-driven market will sustain for a substantial time period. Because if you can remove business risk with the help of government, big-size power plant still has strong competitive edge in terms of generation cost.
Korea has had a central role in the UAE, in the Baraka nuclear power plant, and that's certainly received a lot of attention worldwide. Considering this, what do you see as Korea's role or position in the global nuclear market in the future? I mean, considering that Baraka is a conventional, large, light water reactor.
Yeah. Government of Korea has a strong commitment to share Korean experience with the global community. As you mentioned, we have successful business record in the UAE, and we also have SMR called SMART, which has already got the design certificate. So in the future, I'm quite sure that Korean nuclear industry will stay as a reliable supplier for commercial big power plant and emerging SMR market as well.
Dr. Lim, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today. I really appreciate you joining us, and thank you for your time again.
Thank you for having me.